Welcome to the 9 to 5 stream.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 9 to 5 stream.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, today is a different one, and we're gonna have a lot of developers coming in and answering your questions. So it's gonna be pretty exciting. So I'm your host, Simeon, also known as Sparks on Discord, and I am the community specialist for 9 to 5. And my co-host is Milos, the executive producer of 9 to 5.
Hi, guys. I really hope that I will not do this horribly. This is my first time being co-host, so hopefully I will not screw it too bad.
Okay, yes. It's like host, but you don't interrupt me. Okay, that's the rules. Yeah, and we shall start with just a couple of pointers, and we're gonna just talk about why are we here and what's happening. Yeah, so we're participating in the Steam Next Fest, which is the festival of new and upcoming games on Steam, and yeah, we are upcoming game. So we will have a demo available for you all to play in the next 5 days or 4 days. So from June 16 until June 22nd, 9 to 5 is available for everyone to play on Steam. And that is pretty awesome. This version of the game is similar to the one you've seen on the beta weekend, except with few tweaks and quality of life improvements. We're going to show some gameplay as well today, and you will see, we can point out some of the improvements there. Yeah. And the format of this stream today is that we will have a hot seat for the developers to come over and play 9 to 5 with us, and at the same time answer your questions and answer our questions as well that we might have. Yeah. So some of questions that we prepared already. Like, can you stream the game right now? This is a simple question that we can easily answer.
It's one of the most famous one on Discord, actually. Ooga booga, and then can I stream? I noticed that.
Maybe we can answer both of them tonight. No. Yeah. So we love our NDAs very much, but this demo is available for everybody to stream, to make content and everything. You can play with your friends, play with your parents if you wish. And yeah. Well, Milos, what can you tell about this Steam Next Fest? What has changed in the game?
Well, it looks like not much, but in fact we did manage to get quite a bit of changes in, which I'm super happy about. Well, number one, everyone was asking where the hell is my LMG. So I'm happy to say now in in the next Fest version, we heard you guys and we knew that you really want the gun to be back and give your feedback on it. So that was the first thing that we actually did. Together with that, we managed to get in as well the double barrel shotgun and the a little bit stronger armor, the junkyard. On the armor, we did get a lot of feedback on the general balance, so we decided to tweak it a little bit on the higher levels. So the lower armors we kept about the same, but we did a lot of rebalance on the heavier armors, and we as well played a little bit with the item slots and changed what goes where, because we noticed that it was very easy to find sort of ultimate combination. So we tried to balance it out a little bit and played around it. On the items as well, we rebalanced a few of them. You know, the famous med box is back, but this time it will get destroyed after after it revives someone, so it cannot actually revive you until eternity. Tweaked a little bit the turret as well as changed a little bit numbers. So for example, only 2 claymores, or you can have four other drops. So played a little bit with the general balance, and basically the same on the weapons. You know, we took the weapons, balanced it around. Looked on your feedback. You know, we heard from many that especially the old patchy, the AK, wasn't, or yeah, also Apache, one of these two. The AK looking like gun actually didn't really perform. That you guys expected a little bit more. So we toyed with that, and we as well look into hipfire and how hipfire works, especially on some of the guns that should have actually been a bit friendlier for the hipfire. So yeah, I would say these were the main ones. There were some optimization fixes and performance of like in general as well, but not too much. Unfortunately, we didn't have that much time to look into that. But can definitely promise that in the next version that you guys will be testing, the optimization will already be better there. I would say that was about it. Did I forget about anything, Simeon? What do you think?
No, I think you covered a lot of the things, and we can actually show now very quickly from the loadout menu the new items, well, not new items, but new weapons that came back in this version. So like and
I think you will have to show it, Simeon, because I don't have them yet unlocked.
yeah,
I was
for
just
some reason
checking.
yeah. Yeah, so here is the LMG. It looks better than ever. Yeah, so a lot of bullets where it really melts up your enemy's armor in the close range, and you can scout with it if you try hard. I mean, you can
It,
make a singular shots with it.
yeah, I have to say, like the LMG, it's not great reactive gun. But in case that you actually manage to pinpoint someone in especially medium distance, oh man, this is a beast. Like the first few bullets fly all over the place. Like the recoil at the beginning is quite strong. But with time, it really nicely stabilizes, and then it really can goddamn delivers. I really like it when we know that we will be defending, and I have a little bit longer field, like a little bit longer view. It's perfect combo for that.
Yes, indeed. And the second weapon is old salty, not old patchy, old salty.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I love how JJ, our weapon designer, how he actually calls it the pirate gun. You know, not only that it looks like a pirate gun, but it actually somewhat behaves the same way. You know, it's if someone goes too close to you, big mistake. Basically, you will destroy everything in front of you. On the other hand, the range is quite short. So, and you better hit, because if you don't hit, they will come back and they will punch hard. So yeah, it's sort of like a hail mary of a CQB situations.
Yeah, and you have two chances to knock an enemy, I would say.
Yeah,
But after
with the
that,
third one, he will knock you. That's for sure.
yeah, just axe him in the head if it doesn't work. But yeah, this is amazing weapon, especially because it's a secondary, so you can really have your LMG as your primary, and then have your salty as your secondary, and you're unstoppable pretty much at this point.
Yep.
Also, it's very popular among snipers, I would say.
I noticed well for me, you know, this one is the one that I sort of like. I have two favorite from the secondaries. One would be the butler, because like it can do quite a bit of damage with the 3 bullets, especially if you manage to hit. So like you can up close. Like I had one situation when I even won against the SMG with it. So like it can somewhat help you in the CQB situations when you have the sniper rifle. Well, obviously the old salty. If you hit, as you said, if you hit, you are fine. If you don't, well, goodbye. It's next round waiting.
Yeah, I would say that Butler is a bit underrated gun. People don't realize that it shoots bursts, and
Uh, I think so too, and I'm really surprised because like if it looks gorgeous. Like I love the visuals, you know. Like it really to me like it's even on from the visual side, it's probably the best looking secondary we have. So
yeah, it's looks a bit like a weapon of a pimp or something. The red. Okay, moving on.
Good to
And
know. I will let know the next name. It's already known. The pimp. Okay.
yeah, and also in this version we have 3 new armors, so all of them coming from the same set, which is called Junkyard Dog. And so there is the lighter version, medium version, and the heavy version. And the heavy one is probably the most durable armor in the game at this point.
It is,
It's
yeah. It is actually 15 points above the level 3 heavy. So what it does is that it can withstand even a headshot, which is sort of specialty of this one. Like if you get a headshot from a sniper rifle, this will still it will still keep you alive. Which, especially in case where you expect snipers to play the role, it might be a go. Especially if you don't need that many items, because obviously, the only thing that the Man of Steel can deliver is the team protection. So like you can dig yourself somewhere. Like I still, one of my favorite combos if there is take the junkyard, the LMG, all salty, and take hard barricades. Barricade yourself somewhere, and you really can tank a lot in there. Then, like you really can protect yourself and help your team in defending some of the strong or a bit more in-house oriented objectives.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people who would put deployable shields somewhere in the corner of a room and just sit there with their turtle shell and the LMG.
You
And
can turtle yourself with the LMG, and don't forget that the LMG has a lots of bullets. Like
oh
it,
yeah,
it it really can melt you away. Like the 60 bullets in the back, it can do the damage. It can do the job.
yeah, it really turns you into a turret of some kind. uh, what's very nerf the turrets, as they say. Yeah,
Hashtag.
yeah. Okay, let's see a couple of questions that people have sent to us on Discord.
Mhm.
So, how near is this demo is to release version of the game?
So obviously the progression is completely missing, and everything non-second, sub-second is missing, as well as tons of content is missing. For those who played before beta 1 or alpha, you saw some of the other guns, some of the other content, and that's obviously still awaiting. So content-wise, I would say 1/3, 1/4 of the content. Progression still coming back, crafting, weapon customization, character customization. All of this is still to come. On the second to second, we are still tweaking animations, tweaking the recoils, tweaking the guns. But I would say the core is there, and we are pretty happy with it, as well as we notice that people are pretty happy with its movement speed. There are still some comments on some of the weapons related stuff, but nothing that would really make us worried. So I think that part at least is pretty close.
Yeah, we don't have any weapon customization at all, and that's what people are commenting about. That in the alpha version and before that there was you can add different scopes and all kinds of attachments to your guns, but here it's only represented by 2 variations of assault rifle. So the Merlin assault rifle with a red dot scope and with what is it, 3x scope?
3x scope, yeah, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah,
yeah. So
the
that
the SR one.
yeah. So the customization will be back, of course, and besides that, we will also have cosmetic customization of the weapons.
Mhm.
So you can add charms and different skins on your
Yep.
guns.
Charms, different skins. There will be as well ability to actually put some small things on your armor also. Like changing the backpacks. Many people are actually asking, how do I change the backpack? Well, now you can't, or you can in fact, but you don't have the backpack itself. But with the next version, you will be already able to change the backpack, change the charm on the backpack, put the stickers on it. Like we are bringing quite a bit of customization to the game. That will be heavily 9 to 5 stylized. And I would like to once again thank to everyone from Discord who submitted their propositions. Our team was super happy and psyched about all of the stuff you guys actually did for it, and many of it will come to the game. So I hope you will come back when these are in and get them on your mercenaries.
Yeah, and if you still have some ideas for the patches, you can still submit them to our Discord channel, and our artist will work on them and add them to the game. Well, if they're any good, of course. we still do have some standards here. All right. Interesting question. Why there is no jumping in the game? I think this was covered extensively before, like in one of the development diaries we had. But
Mhm.
for all the new players, maybe you can elaborate why there's no jumping.
I will try to be fast because I believe it for everyone. They was like, well, we heard you, Milos. Uh, we originally had a jumping in the game, but it really didn't fit to what we are trying to deliver. You know, we want to deliver a bit slower paced, a more strategic game where stuff like jump combination of jumps in the middle of the rooms through a corner and ideally going to lean at the same time and it's not really a thing. That's why even strafing is a little bit slower, and we actually make sure that reactiveness is not really what plays the main role in the game. And jumping was, in fact, the first one that we that we took away. We really tested it, but it didn't. It felt so off for us that we kept with vaulting. You still can vault quite a bit of things. You can get where you need to. You can be strategic and do some cool tactics around the map as well if you want through the vaulting, but not through jumping into the room and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Well, I think that we will answer more questions, more general questions about game design throughout this stream. But I would say we let in our first guest. So this will be Martin, our lead environment artist, and Ville, our art director. And they will talk about level design and art direction in the game. I mean,
Awesome.
so just give us a couple of minutes to set it up, and we will be back. All right. Sorry for the delay. We're back. There shouldn't be any issues anymore with the setup. So, and now in the studio, we have Martin and Ville. So, guys, if you can introduce yourself really quickly, maybe start with Ville.
Hello, my name is Ville. I am the art director on the 9 to 5 project. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Hi, I'm Martin, and I'm the lead environment artist on 9 to 5.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Great. Yeah, great to have you guys here. And if we have any old viewers in the chat, Martin and Ville were on one of our streams before when we were talking about the design of the old New York map, and so they should be familiar for you. Yeah, and with you guys, let's talk about our direction at 9 to 5, and then let's talk a little bit about the maps. Maybe we can start with a generic question that 9 to 5 is set in the near future. So where are all the lasers and hovercrafts?
Well, we still don't have
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah, where are they?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think there's no. Well, maybe the easiest answer is because of the style of gameplay or the weapons. I mean, it is intentional that we don't have these energy weapons, but we want to keep the kinetic firearms only approach. So introducing sort of laser or other more outlandish technologies, maybe a thing that doesn't fit always so well. We do make some more out there solutions, but not on the core gameplay. So that's like our anchor in a way in terms of technology. If that answers any
I
of
think
the
it's
question.
it's also the thing that we're not in the future per se. Well, like near future, could be, like 10, 15, 20, 40 years. Obviously, technology changes fast, but we have like stuff that we would like to do, stuff we would like that we don't really want to do. And obviously, it doesn't mean that it's not necessary because it is in the near future that you have like rail guns and laser guns and plasma guns and stuff like that. It's not a direction we wanted to go, either with the weapons or the environment or stuff like that. We will have areas that are more modern, but we're definitely not going to have flying cars and gigantic cloud cities and stuff like that. It
Yeah,
is
and it's
all.
and it's all, of course, also it's not like the 9 to 5 universe is a linear like extension of our real timeline, like here and now, but can be considered as an alternative reality or alternative future as well. So we don't have to go that far into this alternative future for things to be different. I think there are some examples of alternative past sci-fi and even alternative present where things have just happened in a different way, and that's the logic and reason why things are this or that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think we're also going for like this kind of style of like everyday mercenary, where it's like just another job. Which, if we decided to go more like in the mundane area of the near future. So it's just like the world is kind of like where it is now. Of course, like stuff have happened. I don't think we've ever talked about like the general backstory of the world. Maybe we'll do that at some point. But we have like a whole sort of storyline of like the events unfolding from now to wherever we are in the near future, and the way that we have decided that the events are going to unfold, then this is the result. Like the world that you will see in the game is the world as it could have happened because this and this and this and this and that happened.
Yeah, there is the internal logic and the backstory. It's not something that we narrate openly in the game, but there are some threads that go through, and there's reasoning behind some of those things that exist there. I think Martin, you had the point there about the mundane thing and keeping it relatable as well, since the 9 to 5 is like the regular job. So if it feels a little bit relatable and regular compared to the everyday now, that's of course a thing that we take into account.
In terms of like, if you speak about the setting, like what pieces of popular culture could be an inspiration or reference that we were thinking about when designing this world and setting? Was there any inspiration that you drawn from?
Well, there's like a couple, of course, and depending, I think some of the references that we've had over the years, like from the very beginning, some of them are most of them are still the same. Some we may have like dropped off, and some new ones came. But I personally like the Blomkamp movies, where they built the world with the future and the past coming together, like in the District 9 or Elysium, things like that. I think they resonate pretty well with people here in the team. But there's some other games that maybe do some of the quirky things, like the Papers, Please type of thing that has like this like a bureaucratic angle that can be funny in a right place and time. But yeah,
Yeah,
anything, Martin? That
Will, I think you are right that actually Elysium was probably the first one that we've ever talked about it that actually still stays as sort of
yeah,
the stylistic choice for many systems.
Well, Elysium minus some of the crazy architecture and stuff.
yeah, not in space.
Yeah.
Not in space.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's,
sorry, Martin. What do you think? Like, is there anything from your side?
yeah, I like the District 9 also, but it's more in terms of the, for instance, I would say also like Dread, but Dread in certain ways, like not in the giant city blocks like kind of way, more like in the, like, you know, when they shot the movie, they shot in Johannesburg, I think. More in this like a social aspect of it, you know, like large cities where there's a lot of crime, and then we mix that with like some very much like grounded stuff about, you know, like enormous mega corporations and like that have like a huge amount of power over the people, and that they are as strong or more strong than governments and countries and stuff like that, which is kind of already the case. We just kind of pushed it like a little bit further, so it's like this, and obviously the contrast between those and the regular people. But yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we should do like a stream at some point about the backstory. That would be interesting as well, because we could talk about that as well. That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever we are ready to share
Wow.
some of those details, I guess.
Yeah, I guess at some point eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, soon.
Soon trademark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that was an expected answer for some of our audiences.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, let's talk maybe about
One
maps.
last thing, like one last thing, like one big inspiration, also for the New York map, but that's like that was earlier, but like the Warriors, from 1979, about gangs in New York that have to cross the city after a party goes horribly wrong. It's more also like for the urban jungle sort of style and stuff. Obviously, visually, it's like, well, it's from '79, but like it has like a lot of elements from that that inspired the New York map as well.
That's true.
It's kind of interesting because examples you've given, they have somewhat a dystopian kind of setting, that world has collapsed in some manner. But in 95, it seems that the life goes on like somewhere else, but in the areas that we shown in the game. But like everything seems to be very normal.
Yeah, I mean, like you have like armed conflicts and wars and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that it's war everywhere, right? And with the Warriors, for instance, it's not apocalyptic or whatever. It's just that New York was a pretty dangerous city at some point, and the metro in New York especially. So that was something. Also, it's not like there's no apocalypse, no nothing, but it was just at some point New York was pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and I don't feel like the Elysium or District 9 are apocalyptic in a way. Everything is running. There's
Yeah.
powerful entities. I think but at least if I think of apocalyptic, it's like Mad Max or something that everything is gone.
Yeah.
But
In
maybe
District
we are
9,
like,
there is still people
yeah,
delivering stuff. There is still people manufacturing things. There's people
yeah,
having food, water. Of course, there is like poor people, rich people, and whatever. But everything's
yeah,
still fucking running.
yeah. And I think that is sort of part of the logic. If we want to make something 9 to 5, that it's like your daily job. Like it means that some sort of a life is normal and
Yeah.
there is a daily routine to that.
And
So
somebody is paying you money to do something.
yes.
So something's running somewhere.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, let's go through more particular questions, maybe about maps in 95. So, what is your favorite one out of the two we have right now? Maybe Ville, what's your favorite map?
I don't know, maybe the both maps that are playable now, I do like them. Maybe I like the gameplay more in the New York level because of all the possibilities. Also, it's our first map, so maybe that's a little bit more dear to me than others. But I would choose the New York map, maybe because of the variety it offers.
All right, what about you, Martin?
Yeah, they're both very different. Also, yeah, as Ville mentioned, like the New York map was the first one we ever did. So obviously, we were developing the game at the same time, and like the game evolves, the game changes, and we want to try things. So obviously, you can tell that the gameplay is pretty different if you play on either of those. I would say New York as well because I think like the second map that Farmstead was made, so it's a little bit more compact, a little bit smaller, a bit more action packed. And I can't really win matches on that map because the encounters are much more close range, much more brutal than in Flood. Flood has much more density. It's much larger, and there is always a way you can sneak around or go around or sneak past someone or just wait. And I like the gameplay better because of the density and the verticality and stuff like that. But we are working on some more maps, of course. So let's see. Maybe I will change my mind later.
Yeah, and there's actually some people commenting that the map of the old New York is very interesting because it has sort of different landscape, so in different side of the map. So one is very concrete and modern, and then another side has more trees coming, like the nature is taking over a bit more, and that is like one point that people enjoy a lot. And is there have you considered adding that to the other maps, sort of to make them more diverse, the map itself? For
Yeah, but
example, Farmstead, it's very compact.
yeah,
And
sure. But Farmstad's first of all is like smaller. Also, we can't just add the same sort of contrast to every map because then every map would be the same, right? So we're gonna try to add variation to all the maps so that. But this is like having one side that's run down and one side that's a bit newer is just also one thing that's related to the location. Maybe when we make another map, well, we have been discussing like many ideas for maps and stuff like that, but it's more of maybe you have grass or nature on one side. It's also so that the player understands that there is this side and that side. There's the modern side, there's the rundown side, there's the side where the sun's shining, there is the side that's this and that. So it is also orientation thing, but we can't just make like a rundown new on every map. That would be boring.
I would actually say that though on Farmstead there is a part of it, at least for me, because if you are inside the the big building, it feels almost like 19th century, beginning of 20th, and then you are going to labs that violet slash pink, glowing lights everywhere and so on. Like for me, it has a very distinctive vibe of like
Yes.
it almost feels like these are two different places, and for me especially the lighting actually helped a lot to make it very distinctive.
The idea is that it's an old place that's been there for a while, that has been taken over by people that perform illegal activities there, and obviously they have renovated parts of it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's true. It has also like a little bit of a new and old side. Yes.
See?
Yes, but that's not because we wanted to have like an old and a new side. It's because we decided that it was an old sort of ghost town in the desert that has a train station that maybe was in use at some point, and then it was abandoned or whatever happened there, and then some people showed up here and to perform like illegal activities or grow like plants. It's like an old sort of how do you say?
Farm.
Farm. Yes.
Farm.
Yeah, like a farm.
Yeah. All right. Another question that people ask now is that are there any plans to add maps from different side of the world, like outside of the US?
Well, Farmstadt is not in the US.
Or is it?
Or is it? Yes, we don't want to do only US, of course.
Yeah. There are plans.
Yes, plans they are.
Yeah, I think I can say soon trademark, but obviously we have stuff in cooking and different types of maps with different type of gameplay. We will be introducing them as we go. Obviously right now you saw two of them. Yeah, the idea is exactly as Martin and Villa said, to travel a little bit around the world and show different parts of the universe that we are building and how it actually affected as well the different places in the planet Earth.
Yeah, and of course, it would be good, like eventually, soon, maybe we will be able to share a little bit more about the lore of the game and explain like why you go there or why you do this, and of course why certain areas you won't go because things happen in the geopolitics and whatever. But yeah, we will definitely making more maps, and they're not in the US. Yes. Also, you have to keep in mind that we're trying to make the maps so that they're reusable and they work with all sorts of gameplays and objectives, and there's a lot of combination that are possible within the same game modes, etc., etc. So the maps need to be large and dense to allow this replayability, and producing them is much more tricky than producing like your regular normal first person shooter map.
Yeah.
Actually, some games like utilize the different times of the day on the map to make it more replayable. So it's like same map, but just time of day is different, like night versus evening. I mean, versus daytime, and like foggy versus like bright skies.
Yeah.
And is
Of
there
course, we have
any?
we have
plans?
discussed it. We have discussed it many times, and
Yes.
we would really like it to happen. There is a bunch of issues with this, though, is that we want to keep the map sort of playable. So imagine if we make a version of New York that's night, and the area is semi-abandoned, then there wouldn't be much light in here, and gameplay is going to be drastically changing. So we need to test it internally first before we can promise anything. But obviously, we could have like whatever, rain, fog, sun, morning, whatever. Yes, we would like to have that very much.
Yeah. There is all the ambient effects in general, like rain or snowfall, dust storms, things like that. They like as cool as they are, and not always that difficult to execute. They do affect the gameplay quite a bit, as Martin said. And yeah, the different times of day, definitely we want to have a night shift. That's a given.
All right. Actually,
Somebody said
Anatoly.
new old York map.
Yeah. Yeah, this was an interesting suggestion. Some England, maybe something. That would be interesting. Yeah, and Anatoly is asking,
Yes.
is there going to be a map in
Ouch.
space?
We will let you know, Anatoly, on Monday.
I will be afraid. I will be afraid if I will be
There's
Anatoly
gonna
right
be a meeting about it.
now.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Anatoly is one of the environment artists at Red Hill. So
Who is soon gonna be sent to space, it seems.
He's gonna work on it on his own.
yeah, well, sent to space for the references, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, go have a look.
All right. I don't see any other questions in chat. Milos, would you have any questions for our beautiful guests, or should we send them on their way?
I think you asked actually everything I wanted to ask. I was really curious about the favorite maps. But I would actually ask Martin, favorite part of New York. If you could actually build a gameplay, or like, if I would now offer you like, hey, let's play New York. Which part would you like to play?
Well, there are several that I really like. Obviously, my favorite part is the drug den, now called the Brick Mansion, but that is kind of because that was the first area we ever worked on, and when we started making the game and it was super rough and everything, we had the whole New York map laid out, but you couldn't really go inside the buildings yet and whatnot. And we had to also test the game modes and the objectives and whatnot. And that was the first building we ever did. And it's good memories because that was the first time we actually played the game, and it was really fun. So obviously, it's a place that I really like. And supermarket also, but that was the second place we made, so I'm not really,
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Martin. How about you,
Yeah.
Villa?
The question is, which part of New York?
Which part of
map?
New York? If you can choose one area that you would like to play right now, what would it be?
Well, it's close to where Martin's favorite is, but I like the rooftops
Ah.
quite a bit, and I also think the abandoned sort of block where there's the old shipyard, the two like a tall building or long building, how do you want to call it? The
It's called the Old
junkyard.
Duck. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
believe it has nothing to do with the fact that you are wearing sniper rifle to every single round, is it?
no, not at all.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank
That'll
you.
be it from my side.
Well, and maybe just one more question about art. So, and about actually characters design. So, are there going to be any animated skins for the game, or only static ones?
Define animated skin. A skin is a texture or a
Well,
model change.
uh,
What does
I
it mean,
think
animated skin?
I think the question is coming from Call of Duty. In fact, that where some of the skins are having like a change on the texture, and they have actually shader that is basically playing color, different colors, changing even the textures themselves. The answer is that right now not. We don't go to that type of stylization, but obviously you never know what the future will bring.
Yeah.
Well,
There is still many things that we like to do on the characters that are in the works, improving the overall look and feel of the characters, what comes into animation and dynamic, you know, things on them. And like the list is long, there's a way to go, but there are plans. But animated skins, not as you, Milos, described. That's not something that we have been thinking about so far. Yeah.
and okay, the very last question from the chat. Are you planning for varied levels of technology advancement in the maps, or focus on more rundown areas of the world?
we're not going to be focusing exclusively on rundown areas.
Mm.
Hopefully, we can tell you a bit more if we ever do something about the lore and political situation in the 9 to 5 universe. But no, it won't be only rundown areas.
Okay, awesome.
Not that I know of.
No.
I mean, you're probably the person who can influence this heavily. Well, anyway, so thank you very much for coming, guys, and it's been a pleasure. And if people in chat have any other questions, they can still ask it, and we will make sure to answer them in writing on Discord, for example. So yeah, we're gonna have another break so we can change our speakers. So please don't go anywhere. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're back. Thank you for sticking around, who stuck around. And for those who left, shame on you. So now our guests have changed. So now we have Alex and Otto. So Otto is our lead programmer of 9 to 5. And Alex is a QA specialist. Guys, please introduce yourself briefly. Maybe you can tell a couple of words about what is that you do. What does being a lead programmer makes you? And what's QA? What's QA stands for? Okay, Otto, maybe you can start.
Well, it's just keeping eye on everything that happens, like tech-wise. And because we're kind of still small, or rather small, it's everything from doing code to also look into like build systems and all that. Even though it's kind of a bit less of that when we've been growing. And then occasionally doing also some profiling and finding bugs. Of course, we write bug-free code from the start, much easier. But things can happen, And then Alex comes in and tries to break it. So.
Well, thank you, Otto, for the introduction. So, as Otto said, as a QA specialist, my main job is to make sure we find every point in which the game breaks. From small breaking points like an animation not working properly to server crashes to basically every defect we can kind of imagine. it takes a bit of creativity to fit everything in such way that everything goes wrong as possible. One example, and I think it's my favorite bug since I work here. Too bad it wasn't like it was found during one of our betas. During the first beta, it was a server crash. Basically, you had to throw a grenade at the same time you interacted with the ladder, with the timing so specific. But if you did that, the server would instantly crash 5 out of 5 times. No, no turning back.
So actually, I have a question on that, Alex. Like with all the bugs you see, and obviously your job is to actually even look for them, which is probably even worse. Are you still enjoying the game? Like, can you, because we are playing quite often, we have the playtest. Like, do you actually really enjoy the game, or is it every single time it's like, my God, I see it again. Like, please kill me now. Like,
Yeah.
what is it like?
Since I've been working as a QA for the past 5 years, I kind of managed to decouple, like to separate for me when it's work and when I can enjoy myself. And I really like our game and enjoy playing during the playtest and focus only on the positive aspects. That's why most of the time during the playtest, I'm not the one that spots the bugs. I'm just there to give feedback, to enjoy the gameplay, to see, like, to take a break from going unga bunga on every feature of the game.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear.
I think it takes a really strong psych to be a QA specialist, because you play like only a broken game for several years, and when it's finally playable, you kind of ship it and you start all over. I mean, many many people think that it's fun, you get to play games daily at your job, but
No. Basically, it's not playing games. It's more like you have this feature that has to function in
Yeah.
one way.
Yeah.
And you first try to check that it functions in that way. Then you start adding stuff and adding more stuff and adding and seeing how it interacts with other features, and then trying to do as many obtuse steps as possible.
yeah.
One
So,
of
yeah, go on. Sorry.
sorry. One of my favorite bugs from my career was one involving opening and closing a door 25 times.
25.
25.
What
It was
happened?
exactly 25 times.
It's fun that we when I worked in another game studio, there was a bug. So it happened only when you did like a shipping build, so you had to play through the whole 8-hour game. And it only happened when you played with Russian language. And it happened on the last level. And 1/3 of the times when you're going to pull your gun, you pull like a plant or any like model in the game. And that was like, well, we are shipping with
Wow.
that.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Probably
Like,
thousands of people commented on that.
no, for me, and you might actually remember that one. Otto, was when one of our on one of the games we were working together, we got a bug that you can in a cutscene skip all the cutscenes and get all the way to the end of the level without playing anything. And I was like, that's literally impossible. Like you can't. Like we checked with the guys, couldn't find it. And then we were like literally the QA was like, yeah, we can deploy it 5 out of 5, and we couldn't. And at once I was actually sitting already half broken watching the QA when they were trying to deploy it, and I noticed weird thing that during the cutscenes they were actually all the time playing with controller. And then I was like, what did you do there? And it was like, well, I actually remember how is the level, so I'm sort of like by heart trying to walk it through. It's like, are we actually locking down the player controls in that moment? Well, they remember the level so well that they actually walked in the cutscene through the level blindly with all the interactions as well, and they managed to skip every single cutscene and every single gameplay scene because there was actually no AI activated in that moment. I was like, wow, this is what it takes to be to be a QA person. Like I from that moment onwards, I never said anything bad to them. It was like, guys, like massive respect.
Well,
Yeah.
since we're on the topic of the QA, so how like when there's just a new piece of like update and stuff or the new version of the game, how do you approach actually looking for bugs? Like, what do you start from? Like, you have like a clean slate now, and how do you do that?
Well, since most video games are developed based on some documentation, you start by taking the documentation, splitting it into test cases, meaning, I don't know, pressing mouse or the right mouse button shoots, pressing the left mouse button aims, and you like take everything and split it in as small steps as possible. Then you start like with the newest feature and you check it for bugs and if it functions properly. After that, kind of you have to test how this feature fits overall with the other features it interacts with. Like for example, how throwing a grenade interacts with shooting. There were moments in my career when throwing a grenade and then shooting would cause the game to crash because it didn't properly detect the switching between grenade and again first person position of hands.
Nice. So I know that there was a lots of comments and general questions, and it's somewhat related to QA, but more actually on Otto's side about performance and connectivity issues. Can you actually tell a little bit about that, Otto? Like, what are we doing there right now, and what can we say about the problems, and how are we fixing these?
Yeah, right. So it's the old classic. Like usually when you do games, you try to push as much as you can into the game, so it's as full as it can until it reaches its breaking point, and then you need to scale down. So what we do is no like magic really to it. You use different like profilers, logging, trying to log every time some hitches happens, both like client side and server side, because we had issues. Those that been with us for a long time knows that, for example, shotgun could bring down the server performance very well in the beginning. So we also have to look on like the server performance as well. So what we do is basically just using profilers right now and checking what takes time, like time in under the hood. And
Like,
sometimes it, yeah,
there we go.
yeah, sometimes it's not like super simple, because when you have like a programmer's view, it's like you have a magnifying glass in a way. So you see in a small part, you can see that this little part is taking a very, very long time. And then you need to kind of somehow figure out and go up and realize that maybe it's because of, I don't know, this building or this chair or something else that's getting simulated. So it can be a bit time consuming as well. Like a classic one that you do often is that you turn off various, for example, render features, turn them off and see like what happens with the GPU performance, for example. Or you stand and shoot with the shotgun, for example, and then you can see how bad it is. But I
So I
mean,
guess
yeah.
So I guess what I'm hearing from you is that there is basically it's a lot of small things that are slowly adding up, adding up, adding up, and then you have to sort of decouple them back. And there is not even like single like usually in a box you can you fix one line and it somewhat works, but this doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is, because if there's one single thing that would eat up all the frames or the FPS, so to speak, I mean it sticks out, like it sticks out. But when it's kind of evenly spread out, you need to kind of dig a bit deeper and see. And I mean, we are now in the phase where we're still kind of doing like the how to say, like bigger picture issues optimizing. And then the closer to like a real release you get, then you really get down to like on a line level, checking like if you can optimize the inner loop, which is a fun saying. But literally, usually, what's taking a lot of time is when you have some tight loops going over some objects or whatever. We have a garbage collector and trying to free some of the memory, and then. But we are still not quite on that phase yet. We still have a bunch of things to shave off and figure out what we can like do better.
So on that one, I saw so many comments on like, hey, just go to Unreal 5 and all of these issues will be gone. They said so. What is your take actually on that? Like on Unreal 5 and the future of the engine.
The thing is that every time you do switch an engine, things will break. That's a given. So doing the plunge into like Unreal 5, that would be issues. Hard to say already now. And frankly, I haven't looked too deep into like what the capabilities of it and what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at some point, of course, I would say we will be moving to Unreal 5, but no promises, and I cannot say when. But it looks like super cool, of course. Like every time Epic has done like a step up, like switch like a major version, it's I would say usually it's been for the better. Like 3 to 4, it was a pleasure because they addressed many of the peoples that you had back then on Unreal 3 when you had circular dependencies between blueprints and code, so which means you could get into some kind of state where you actually couldn't do anything, so you had to like kind of wipe all the intermediate data and rebuild. It was not fun, and they addressed most of these things on 4, and it'd be interesting when I have time to deep dive deeper into deep dive deeper into Unreal 5 and see what we can do there.
Awesome. Simeon, do we have actually any questions from players on the?
Yeah. Well, first question that I want to ask that why is performance, for example, on Warmstadt map is different than on Old New York? What can cause this kind of issues to the performance on a larger map like that? Is it just the number of objects is different, or how does it work?
Yes, yeah. So exactly. So it's kind of the scope of the level and how much I would say how much time you had on the level. Like the flood map is the first one we did, so we had much more time to kind of break it, so to speak. No, put in stuff like things that gives a nice environmental feeling, and all these things eventually adds up. So it's a lot of like the scope of the level, and then also things like shadows, how many lights you have put in, and things like that also affects. So it's kind of also the layout of the level, how far can you look? Like it's kind of harder with high rooftops when you can see a lot of a map, because then you have a plenty more of things to render. So the best thing from like a performance perspective would be like a a flat level with only a few walls here and there.
I'm sorry, Otto. That will probably not fly around. Sounds great though. Love the idea, but maybe the design wouldn't be as happy.
I know that's always it's always the battle. Like you will sometimes meet an art director who says, "I want a full forest and all the leaves should be individually moved and whatever," and you're like, maybe not. And then you have a fight because I mean, it still needs to look good, but you also have
Yeah, I think it was marketing for Fable 2 back in the day that they were having leaves that animated individually or something like that.
But what I'm hearing right now is that for the next stream we should actually take Otto and Villa into the same room and then let them talk. That would be actually interesting. It sounds.
Yeah,
They
but
would finally talk.
yeah, but you must also understand that I'm all for cramming as much cool stuff into it, so you get some eye candy there. But you always like when you do games, it's a bunch of like smoke and mirrors. Everyone who's fallen through the world in any game will see it like behind the scenes, so to speak, and they will see like how much empty space it is, and So in a way, I'm all for cramming it in, but
yeah, I like how in the alpha we really made like a tour bus for people to see behind the scenes with the leather bug when you could just fly through the floor.
Oh, that one was beautiful.
Okay, some more questions from the chat. So, Has there been any progress towards eliminating the frame rate drops, especially on DirectX 12?
Yes. It's the short one. Yeah.
Okay, moving
So
on.
Yeah, everyone hates that. So that it should be at least like a 60 FPS at all times. So yes, we have made pretty good progress there. We also spent a fair amount of time also looking into like any server side lag, because everyone hates when you get some kind of glitch when the classic you shoot and you thought you hit but you didn't, or someone peeks from a corner and they can shoot you before you even see them, and like these kind of things. So we spent some fair amount of time on that. So we are currently logging every time we get some kind of hitches like that, so we can address them as soon as possible.
And another question about DirectX actually. What made you go with DirectX 12 as your API in the post DirectX 11 landscape instead of Vulkan? I didn't understand the question, but I hope you did.
Okay. I would say that Vulkan is a bit still untried, and so like the safe bet is to go DX12. I've had some chances to look into some Vulkan, and Epic, I would say, still actively developing the Vulkan drivers or the Vulkan side on Unreal Engine. So yeah, sure, we could do that, but I rather have less pain than more pain. That would be it. So it's like this. It's the safest bet, actually. It's the most stable, more stable choice, I would say.
All right. Let me see.
Well, while Semyon is looking, I could actually have one more on Alex. And as a QA, you are basically jumping in between departments many times. It's how much do you like that part? Like you basically have to go to everyone and wake and shake everyone up before they're like, come on, we have a playtest right now, we have to make it work. Like, do you enjoy that part, or is it the ones like, oh my god, again, like playtest is happening, and I will have to actually go through all the people.
I really enjoyed that part, especially especially some people don't enjoy being poked about stuff, and getting them to move and fix some stuff or cook some lightning because we're having a playtest in like 2 hours. It's the best part of the day. It kind of pays off for all the chaos you have to endure during setting up a playtest.
So if I would ask, like, if there's one thing that you always know, like, I have to check this because it's almost always broken, what it will be? You don't have to say names, just say the thing.
Well, it's not really that it's always broken, but we always forget to check that lighting was cooked for that
So GI.
build. Yeah, so the GI.
But it can actually create beautiful, crazily looking environment. Like 2 days ago when we were playing in a new old New York, it looks like Matrix.
Yeah, it's kind of the same today, I think.
Really nice.
By the way, I have
you?
one more comment on the whole like DirectX and whatnot. So, I mean, it's still not super great on the XY because what we can see is that we get a lot of crashes, which are driver crashes, like NVIDIA driver crashes, and those are a bit hard for us to handle. So what? Yeah. So apologies in advance, but sometimes things are just out of your hand, and the best thing we can do is kind of try to collect like as much data as we can, shoot it over to Epic, and then they can work with NVIDIA to try to solve it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. And the last one's from you.
Well, I'm trying to look in the chat, but there hasn't been anything technical. Any question that I understood pretty much everything. Actually, there's one question for Milos. What does it mean being executive producer? What are you doing?
Yes, what are you doing?
Otto. I always describe my job as enabling other people. If it's going to a local shop to buy a beer because guys want a beer for Friday. If it's building IKEA tables, if it's cooking a coffee or making sure that there's actually enough coffee, because otherwise in Finland the people will basically stop working and go on strike and riot the office to the backbones. It's basically anything and everything, like looking around, making sure these things are working, talking with people about the vision of the game, and making sure we know, like everyone knows why are we doing, and what are the reasons. I really believe that the why is mostly more important than the what or how. How, I don't know, the guys, the team needs to know, and that's why we have all the awesome people around. But the why is sort of the one thin line that is super easy to sort of jump off and forget about and just start running all over the place. And that's sort of my work on the game side, just making sure that that line is followed, and be in a hand if the guys have any questions. I always saying that, like, if someone comes to me with a question, it either means budget question or there is no good answer for it, and I just have to choose between two very 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 horrible options, that finding the one that is less than an evil. I would say that's my 9 to 5.
All right, thank
Ye-
you for for the answer.
Yeah, you're kind of in between, I would say, many times. Like we have like programmers, you have artists, and then we have you there. Like,
And there's
right?
also QA.
Yeah.
That's usually against both programmers and
Yes.
artists.
Yes.
And occasionally it's literally like being there and a little bit judging the, like, hey, okay, there's the gazillion of props that are causing all the performance issues, and then there are all the performance issues, and like, what are we prioritizing? What can we take away? Why not? Why yes? And helping a little bit there to find the right answers and the right reasons for them.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. I think there hasn't been any more questions towards you. Oh wait, hang on. There is one actually. It's a bit of controversial question. Why not to outsource QA? Why to have QA in house?
Can I answer, or
You
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
the
Come
ones
to
in
this
charge
stand.
of money answer?
Yeah.
Well, it's better to split the QA work between outsourcing and having in-house testing, because in-house testing usually it's punctual. You don't have to schedule it in advance with a couple of months. And basically, if you have a small feature, it's new, it's barely implemented, and you want just to see if it works and doesn't crash the game, you just poke your in-house QA. You don't have to wait like a day or two until the outsourced QA becomes available. You can also go for a contract of having punctual outsourced QA, but it's a bit easier to communicate with people on site and having somebody to check everything on site, and uh, bringing into attention possible issues or issues that were encountered.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I would say that in general, like, you want to have your team of experts working in house on the most difficult issues, on the most painful issues. Hey guys, like, we need to now fix this, we need to now fix that. Can you take a look? Can you try to repro this? Can you check why is this happening? There's so many of these every day that the developers need help, and I would say the QA is then the best help and the best right hand for every single developer in the team. They, like, I see a lot of memes about QA being the people who are coming and destroying the toys of all the programmers and developers. To be honest, that's not the truth. Many times they are the good wishes that you are hoping to have as many in team as possible, because they are helping you find out what was broken and why is it working this way, looking you for the repro steps, and I think that's where the in-house QA is not only essential, but I would say it many times is this lifesaver of every single developer in there.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, you can't ship a game without in-house QA, like and specialist, because they also invaluable in that like Alex, he plays the game the most. Like I don't play the game as such. I develop the game, so that means that QA, for example, is a very good resource in-house to know what works, what doesn't work, and also as you said, like it's so good to have someone that understands the inner workings of the game. So when you've done some feature or whatever, you can just tell them like, okay, I did something with the friend list. Can you check this out? And they know exactly where to click and how to try to make it break. When you have outsourced, they always, I would say, they almost always start from zero. So there are some dudes getting paid somewhere. They just get the game to play. So I guess outsourcing makes sense. For example, if you would do like a console game when you have like a bunch of like certification requirements and that stuff, they that you can just throw off to some externals because then they have kind of more of a checklist. But no, you can't really ship any game without having like really good QA team in house.
Yeah, that is a very good point, and I guess it's also allowed us to have like playtests every day, pretty much with new builds, and this very useful thing to have. That with the fast iterations and development cycles.
Yeah, and
Uh,
yeah, then I would also say that even though if you have a bunch of external QS and whatnot, the real final test is when you have the players playing it, and then they will find some stuff. You can do your
Yep.
uttermost, but there will still be something that doesn't work.
It
That's how it
usually
is.
happens. You can't like you have to think in 1,000 different ways to reach 1,000 different conclusions because maybe somebody will place a healing box, then place an ammo box, then try placing a shield next to them, and this will crash the server or probably crash the game and crash his PC.
Mm.
Somebody else will switch the order and this issue will not happen, and you have to like go through all this all the time, and sometimes you miss one combination of steps and it goes live, and you're gonna see it when it goes live.
all right, excellent. There are a few questions that are more of game design nature, so maybe Milos can answer them very quickly.
Sure.
Okay, well, one is actually more of a philosophical one. What about the next game when you finish 9 to 5? What genre would you go for?
I think it's very early to say, and 9 to 5 is obviously something in head of all of us and in our hands as well. I would the like before we are like release of a game as a service game is basically the beginning of the life cycle. It's the beginning of everything, and then everything grows out from there. And it's in most of the times when we were working on games that are box products, you ship it and you go next. But in case of a game as a service, you don't. I jumped, for example, to World of Tanks after 8 years being live, and the game was still blossoming. So that's the first part of the answer. Second, I would say still we want to do shooters. We want to do free to play shooters. We love shooters. We are shooter players. We are. That's why we actually got all of this crew together, and that's what we want to do. It's gonna be some shooter. What is it gonna be? I have no idea. We haven't really thought about it at all. And before, I would say before 9 to 5 is out, and we are, happily with all the players out playing in the streets of New York. I'm probably not gonna really occupy my mind with that.
That's a lot of shooters in one sentence that you've said. But yeah, I guess for us it's still a long way ahead
Mhm.
because we're not even in the release stage yet, and so
Yep.
it's just fun and games for now. The real deal starts.
Well, games.
So, all right. Another question about game design. Um, do we have any intention to still revisit and redevelop some of the core mechanics? Because this player has mentioned that the game feels clunky and that and we have terribly slow bullet velocity.
Bullet velocity, in fact, is probably connected on the server, I would say, and the hit recognition on that side, because we are actually not using bullet velocity per se. We are actually using hit targets. On a side of reworking mechanics, I wouldn't say reworking, I would say polishing. Yes, 100%. You know, as even Ville and Martin were talking, we are still obviously improving systems, looking into animations, making sure it's smoother, it runs faster, it runs better, that the animation looks more polished, that the character is more alive, interaction with the weapon is more believable. So on all of these, yes, we are improving as well the visuals and making sure that you know, if you are placing items, they have better UI, better communication of what's going on and how it's going on, smoothing out a little bit of drone interaction as well. But like completely reworking the game, no, we actually feel like we are pretty happy with that side, and we have actually good baseline and very solid very solid background for that and more building on top of that.
All right. Yeah, thank you for answering that. And a final question that maybe Otto and Alex could answer as well. So, out of all the known issues, which ones are of the highest priority and must be fixed at this point? Do you have something that we couldn't that was maybe something we figured out in beta and that we didn't have time to fix for this demo and that we are going to work on right away?
Load times is something we're going to look more into, for example, especially
Can you
those with a spinning disk and not SSD.
Can you elaborate a bit? What do you mean? Like loading times into the match, or?
Yeah, when you get match into get match into a match and the map starts loading, that can be a bit too slow for some, so it just takes a bit too long. So we'll have to optimize the whole loading of assets and how we do it. No one likes loading times, but this is actually something that in a way affects the game, because if you load too slow, the match may have started before you're in game, so we cannot have it like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, there seems to be technical difficulty with access camera. So
now it works.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, I mean, it's good we solved it because that was the last question for you. Yeah, and thank you very much, Alex and Otto, for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you. And if people have still any questions, you can ask them on Discord, and we will make sure to answer them. So thank you very much. We're gonna have another short break when we prepare another guest, and we're gonna talk about marketing and why it's important, I guess, and also about bodybuilding.
I'm
All
out. Hands up.
Oh, so hot in here. Hello. Yes, welcome to 9 to 5 stream. We have another guest, and this is Ville, the head of marketing for 9 to 5.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Ville likes walks in the park and weightlifting. He's here to answer all your marketing questions.
Exactly in that order, by the way.
Okay,
So
we
the
have
orcs go first.
Okay, so we have some pre-written questions that were not approved by marketing. So why are we not on the very front page of every gaming website yet?
Oh my God. Well, of course, if it was only up to me, of course, we would be everywhere all the time. But fortunately, the realities are what they are, and we're still developing this game. So we're not there yet. We'll be there later.
All right, very concise and good. Um, There's already actually a question in the chat. How important is Twitch viewership to you, and are there engagement plans like Twitch drops or streamer promotions? And because right now it seems that Twitch angle of the game is struggling.
Yeah, it's it's a tricky balance. Of course, the game's still in development. Those are things, of course, that we naturally have taken a look, and there's a time and place for everything. Of course, if the question is like, would I take a big Twitch following versus no Twitch following? Yeah, of course. Bring it on.
All right.
I'm actually wondering. We were always talking that we'll be playing and talking. Should we actually try that
all right, fine.
and see how that works?
Would be nice to play.
I was thinking, like we were talking about it just before you came. So
Yeah. So while we're searching for the match, if you're watching us on Steam, make sure to ask questions as well. There is a chat option on Steam, so we are also reading that, and we'd like to hear your questions. Thank you. Oh, Warmstead.
All right.
All right, Ville, what's your favorite map of 95?
I think flood, but mainly because of the elevation, and I love the angles that you can get with a sniper rifle in there. Guys probably see right now I'm playing a sniper rifle right now, so gotta say that these like when we're live, it's always so different from those internal playtests when you know everybody and you pretty much know what their play style is like. And then you get into this, and all the strategy you've accumulated over months and months is completely useless because they come at you from angles that you didn't know even existed. I'm like, okay. So this is going to be a very humbling experience, is what I'm saying.
well, what I love is that always the first, second game of the beta, people still don't know, and you still can somewhat survive. And then you get to like sixth, seventh, and you find out that they found even more lines than we know. And you are like, oh my god, it took so little to enjoy the old game. It's fun.
Yeah.
So I can see that you actually picked the Juggernaut. The junkyard is on the play.
Meanwhile, how are you going to monetize the game? People gonna like some people say it's free to play. So the question of monetization, Ville, what can you say?
Get close to that
I
terminal.
passed this on to Milos.
I so expected that to happen. As you were asking, I was like, oh, he's gonna pass this one. Well, obviously, I can say two things straight because everyone is asking about mostly two things. So no loot boxes and no pay to win, obviously. We will go with customization. We will go with some vanity that you will be able to get or buy. For more of the plans, I think you will soon trademark C. But I can definitely say that we are very much mindful of staying within the boundaries of being fair. As I really like what Matthias said. Jesus Christ! Wow, guys.
Yeah.
Already?
That was tactical.
Very tactical.
Yeah.
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 Very tactical.
All right, more questions.
Yeah, well,
Now we have time to talk.
I like that one. Yeah, that was. At least I showed the LMG. I showed the LMG.
True.
Okay, what are the plans to market the game and reach bigger audience? Or monetization will try to squeeze as much as possible from very focused audience, like Genshin Impact. So are we aiming to have a broad audience, or are we planning to find the target market and just milk them as much as we can?
Well, that wasn't a charged question at all. Yeah, of course, audiences are important. To answer, like, do we have plans to market the game? Yes, we have plans. So rest assured, there is a plan. But there's a time and place for everything in terms of, you know, where the game is and so forth. So we are a lot of action going on. So we're gonna basically reach out to a bigger audience once we're good and ready in terms of where the product is.
Yeah, I think on my side as well, I can say that like one of the goals of the game is obviously to have very strong core and starting by the core. We that's why at the beginning in the friends and family, I believe we had about what I cannot say number per se, but like hundreds, maximum hundreds of players, and that was sort of the starting point. And obviously from that we are growing, rather than actually going with big splash. We want to build a game together with the players. We want to get the feedback first, and then increasing it as we go.
Yeah, I guess also since we're planning to develop a free-to-play game and not go into the premium model, so it is important to reach as much people as possible. So, yeah. Okay, so what advice can you give to steaming weightlifters? What should you focus on when you start?
I'm the last guy you should be asking for weightlifting tips.
I wanted to say from the get-go, like, why are we talking W and me and lift weighting? Like, I'm not sure if you guys see us, but like, it's
Have
not
you
a
seen
target
him?
audience.
Oh, this is that was a slap across your face, with like Mila should like, do you even lift, bro?
Who comes up with these questions?
I want to say chat, but neither of those was asked from the chat.
I feel these are very personal questions coming from.
Well, I want people to see the face of 9 to 5 and its muscle.
Well, we have JJ, who's of course like the resident weightlifter, so.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
American football player, so.
Yeah. So he's all about weightlifting and guns.
Yeah.
Do we have a plan in game? Oh crap. Okay.
What?
Yeah, there's a guy. Oh, by the way, we're also playing at the same time, so.
Easy.
I'm just aimlessly running. I don't know what I'm supposed to do even at this point. All right. Actually, a question about trailers. We were expecting that one. Are there any plans for making lore-based cinematics to promote the game at launch? I feel like the world building is a good hook for potential players.
Wow, that was a well-structured question. And I completely agree. Yes, it is. There's like. Sorry, I'm getting shot at, so you know it's a little bit slow burning getting the answers out. Yeah, it goes basically that once we're good and ready on that front, and we have something that players can actually experience in the game for themselves and see and feel. Yes, of course we're gonna bring that out front, and that's of course like one big venue that we haven't really explored yet. Apart actually from the, you got a glimpse in the Beta 1 trailer, if you guys remember that one, where people were getting phone calls when they were at work.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the whole point there, was to get the burly mercenary guy to tell his mom that he can't talk right now. And we managed to do that. That was pretty sweet.
Huh.
Are we Come on, guys.
Yeah, we are. Well, it's good to observe the play of the other players out there. This is how we are upping your game.
So, Milos, you're turning this into like a learning experience about how the players play their game?
Basically, yes.
Why do we?
But that's how we learn. Right? That's how we learn.
I mean,
But-
it's like watching a stream on a stream.
How meta can we go?
But I'm very happy to see that actually VRG guys are playing. I would like to give a shout out to VRG and Rod team.
Oh,
Oh man, double zeros, triple zeros soon.
I mean, consistency is the key.
Oh yes, of course. In marketing communication and playing 9 to 5, consistency is key.
We are very consistent this time around. So
Indeed.
I will actually think I need a little bit more armor this round around.
Time to beef up, am I right?
Oh yes. Time to lift some weights.
I feel attacked.
uh, all right. Maybe some questions for Milos. Do you think that having that players use a drone is balanced? Like, who is even operating this thing?
To the operation, I would go a little bit back into the lore thingy. There is actually a reason for it. I think the question is around balance as well. We want to give players ability to do something after you are dead, and if when you see actually me me playing, you can see a reason that I was designing it a little bit for myself. But we believe it actually works. They are obviously giving huge benefit, especially to people who are able to use it well, who know the information, positioning of enemies, pre-aiming. These are obviously very important thing, but at the same time, they are never able to do, let's say, direct damage, and they are very easy to get down as well. So they are sort of distracting and potentially information giving, but they shouldn't play as negative role. Hey, we have first kill.
Good job, Samuel.
GG, well played.
Time to retire.
Exactly. You should always stop when the best. So. Not
Yeah,
just
when you're on peak.
exactly. I can see a guy there. Yeah, I think the second team is now getting inside. In W, you were actually talking about, snipers and really liking sniper rifles. Any good sniper spots in Farmstead for you?
Well, this is actually one of those rounds that I'm actually trying to go to one right now in storage, which I like, but it's in terms of where the objective is, it's probably going to be a little bit hard to see anyone. There's lots of these little nooks and crannies, basically, that can work. But I think you just got my window. Yeah, you did.
And I can see that you are down.
I am down.
Demian, what happened?
I think there's somebody inside here with
I think we agree that mistakes are not happening this round around.
Somebody is in the... Yeah, there's a hard barrier on Greenhouse 1.
Oh.
So they want to funnel us in. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
Maybe forgot to say that I will be shooting it, didn't I?
Yeah, you kind of did, but that's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm destroying it. Post factum counts, does not.
Another question about a marketing role. So at this stage of development, is marketing role more about planning than actually executing?
Definitely more like, of course you don't have stuff out there in live, so you're not running campaigns, so yeah, you're kind of prepping for things to come. And that takes a majority of the time, but also like helping the game team where I can. And well, our lovely PEX guys. Nice kill, Semyon, by the way. Like your work. So yeah, there is much more of that. It doesn't go away though. Like once you're live, you have to do everything. So there's one guy left, guys.
Yeah, we
Wait
are
for
going.
call.
We are so gonna lose this one.
Come on.
There's drone somewhere.
The transmitter is ours.
He's here. He's here. On me. On me. On me.
Can you go down?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
He's dead.
Ah,
Ah.
see, this is the importance of the 3 rounds. You might completely get obliterated in 2, but we managed to win the last one.
Success.
And I finally can now buy one of my favorite guns. Here goes Veggie.
Let's see what questions do we have.
I would have actually won on UW. Like when you are thinking about positioning 9 to 5, what it would be. Like where if we are talking about lookalikes or like games similar to us, like where do you see us sort of mix and matching, and where do you see us not being that sort of?
Well, it's of course our game is a combination of things from other games as well. So it's going to be a mixed bag of players, but I'm not going to start naming titles on this stream. You people are smart enough to figure out where the inspiration comes from and so forth. So this deck is going to appeal to large part of people, and hopefully that's going to be one of our. I can't say tactical because Milos hates that word. No tactical, but strategic shooter players.
Here we go.
Have to keep it clean, guys.
Actually, let's ask one dirty question. So, are we planning to expand to the competitive scene, and how are we gonna introduce esports 9 to 5 in any way, if we are?
If we are, that is a hard one. That esports scene usually happens like grassroots, and the best cases are ones that are not like manufactured. Some are, of course, and so forth, but that scene is so tough to break through, and I would kind of want to see success first as a game and so forth. And if there is really a strong signal from the players that this is something they want, that's what I would take as a go ahead to even explore that. Currently, I'd never say never, of course, but
All right. And what if I am a streamer and I want to work with 9 to 5?
Great. Well, you probably want to get in touch with us, and probably the best way to do that is one of our social media channels currently. So just shoot us a line and start the conversation there. We're gonna probably make it a little bit easier down the road on our webpage to kind of get in contact with us. But currently, if you want to do it right now, I think, what should we say, Semyon? Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter is good. People can always send us DMs and just mention us, and we surely read everything that people send. And yeah, pretty much any measure of communication is fine. If we are there, then you can write to us there.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I think that would be it from about the marketing. Maybe will you have questions to us, or maybe something you want to mention to people still?
No, not really. No.
Well, maybe people should play the game. They should add it to wishlist on our Steam page.
Wishlist the game, play and have fun with it. Let us know what you think. All that information is valuable to us, and thank you for taking the time to hang around with us. But don't go anywhere. We got more to come.
Yes, so we have coming up 2 more guests. So the first one is going to be Ayush from our analytics team, and we're going to tell how we utilize analytics in the development of the game. And then we have infamous Rob, the audio designer, and we're going to talk about sounds and spinning knobs and this kind of things.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
don't leave anywhere. Thank you, Ville, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope you are not too tired of this. We have had a lot of information and a lot of guests. If you're a bit overwhelmed, it's all right. Take a brief, and we're gonna have just 2 more guests. So here with us now in the studio we have Ayush, our business intelligence analyst.
Hello.
And okay, Ayush, if you can say a little bit about your role and what you're doing in 9 to 5.
So, like Simon mentioned, I'm the analyst working here, and my role usually involves, checking the game data, what players are buying, what players are playing, what weapons they are using, helping out with the balancing, and understanding like how many players come play on a day, what's the retention, understanding all those numbers, and trying to get more insights out of it, and helping Milos over here, understanding what can be improved in the game, working with the designers, helping them balance some of the you know balance the monetization and balance the weapons as well. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So I think we're gonna play another game with Ayush here. So let's just jump into queue while I prepare one more question. Actually, it's both. Both you can answer that. So how important is data in game development? So does it influence the game design in any way? And why do we need an analyst?
I mean, I can't say that we don't need data, of course. I mean, of course, it's very, very important, data in any game. If you don't have data and, you're testing stuff, you're essentially blind and you have to understand a lot of things like what are the players interacting with. And data speaks for itself. you have to understand, the feedback may be different for different players. Like a small majority might be saying something about a particular weapon, but the numbers might state something completely different. So that is how we understand whether how critical a particular feedback is. We understand the ratings by a game, and understanding where we are as a game. Whether we should have, we should do one more test, or we shouldn't do another test. How are the weapons performing? Whether players are actually actually interacting with the new weapon, and what other things we can improve. So yeah, I mean, we have to understand and get insights from the data all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Irish was completely correct. Like there is a saying in my language that if you have 10 people in a room, they have about 15 opinions. So obviously, people can have opinions, but data don't lie. If you take a look on the data from tens of thousands of players, you will find out what works. You will find out what didn't, and then based on that, you can start actually doing much better and much cleaner assumptions, as well as to say what actually worked, what didn't work, and sort of drive your decisions a little bit more cleaner, and a bit more towards the direction of, okay, we are still in some ways assuming, but at least we have educated assumptions. We balance a lot of guns, even in the internal playtest, we are getting the data, checking the balance, checking systems, looking into what is used, what is not used. It helps us tremendously. And obviously that's only the, let's say, hard data, like the raw data, but then there is as well the the player feedback, the surveys, the information we get through that, going through all the messages on Discord or other platforms that are helping us as well.
Well, that is very insightful. And how about qualitative versus quantitative data? So sometimes we can hear from the players that a certain feature or certain aspect of the game is terrible. That we can hear a lot of vocally negative feedback. But then when we look at the data, it seems that most of the players enjoyed it, and they have no problem. And like, for example, their retention has improved since the before the update. So how do we work that, and how to find the balance? Like, can we fully rely on the data, or only on players' feedback?
So like, to answer that question, I would say that for any kind of data to make sense, you have to have a certain amount of numbers backing it. And especially if you're trying to compare two different numbers, you need to understand that there's a certain amount of sampling done. So even if we are having a survey, so if just 5 people give the survey, then this feedback is not so critical for us, because we can't really make out anything about it. But on the other hand, if we have around 5,000 feedback from different players, and we are and in that sample we have players of different from all over the world, players who like to play snipers, players who likes to play with AR. So we, with all that information, we can actually rely on that. Okay, this sample has different categories of players. So yep, so that's how the quantity actually affects us.
Yeah, I would say as well is that one of the difficulties in there is obviously that when you are the difference is that one is subjective, one is not, and the subjective, for that you actually need critical mass, and then you need to be able to read the critical mass, which is sometimes very time consuming and actually difficult, because you need to be able to to really judge and navigate yourself through the data. So while it's a bit, maybe I don't want to say easier, but it's not as crazy to go through crude data, going through the, hey, there's 100,000 different lines saying something about a game, being able to navigate and filter that out, and being able to go through all of that and then deliver it to the team. Because obviously the guys in the team are super curious about what these data are saying, is not as easy.
Yeah, actually, another one question from the chat is, what kind of feedback data do you collect?
We need to hack that safe.
So so it's basically more on the the rating side. I mean, if any of the players have been given any in-game surveys during the beta, so they'll know that it's about how much rating would you give to the game, whether you will recommend it to to your friends or anybody else. So these are the overall structure, I would say, like understanding how we are as a game right now. Apart from that, it can boil down to specific parts of the game, like the guns, the maps, the visuals, and the animations. So what do you feel about them? And different players have different opinions about them. So based on the rating and uh, based on the feedback, we analyze the sentiment out of it, how good the sentiment is, whether and there can be cases which are quite bizarre as well. Like a player might say that he completely doesn't like the game, he doesn't like 10 different aspects of the game, but in reality he has given a 9 rating. So in that scenario, we have to understand that okay, this feedback is not that negative that we initially thought. Yep.
All right. What about balance and these types of data? So how do we collect the gun balance data, for example, and what types of data that is?
So obviously, we have gameplay data which has, which player is using which gun and how many kills he's making, what's the accuracy of the gun. So, and this is something that my colleague Thien works on, more in depth. And and we also have, a junior analyst Hung in our team. So it's like a collective effort how we work here. And to just give you a brief, idea how gun balancing works, is that you have a few metrics like your TTK, time to kill, your accuracy percentage, your headshot percentage, and the different guns are important for different kinds of the designer intends to have it to work in a different way. So based on all of that, we show the data to the designer, and they take a decision how exactly to balance it.
All right, and do we consider players' accuracy across all guns to understand the success rate of guns in relation to the overall aiming skill? Like, for example,
Great. Now
you
we can
segment
fortify
players
the
into
area
skill
and head
groups
out.
when evaluating the gun balance, or how is the balance for a particular gun works?
So
in
obviously
that
we
case?
do segment our players into skill because it's very important. And after that you try to figure out what is their accuracy. So you might divide your players into 3 categories of skill or 4. I mean it really depends
Ready
on,
goes defense
again,
framework.
the
Enemy on
the
the way.
quantity comes into the picture here, how much quantity makes sense over here. And then we try to look into their accuracy. So again, a very important thing over here is to compare like players to like. We can't compare to apples to oranges.
Okay, wow, that is a lot of information in a very short span of time. Josh, would you have anything to ask or to add?
I would actually add a little bit, and that's that. Even though it's hard, I would say that one of the very important things to take in account somewhat is obviously that gun might be okay. It might not be great or perfect, but there might be actually players for which that gun might be extremely good because it is actually helpful. Some people, the not so great performing gun might be better than having actually some gun that is very good in very skilled hands, and then vice versa. So like not every gun can be perfect for everyone, and you really need to work a lot with balance and making sure that this is sort of balanced amongst the weapons, and that they are actually weapons for every single player group. For me, for example, lever rifle is really not a thing because like I really cannot play with that one. Trust me, like I'm no good. On the other, and I'm not even trying to, for example, judge it myself. While then you have people who are saying like I cannot play with anything else. Barjan, great example, loves the gun, believes it's the strongest gun in the game. I cannot do anything with it. So we obviously need to be able to read this as well, and always take into account all the different player groups and actually even player styles, and deliver different gameplay for them.
And yeah, just to add, like some players would be great at at the map we are playing, the old New York, and some players would be very good in a different map. And again, some weapons will work better here, some might not work better on the other map. So yeah.
Wow. So, what can we actually track from the game? Like, what is the limit of our abilities?
So again, nothing personal. We don't track any personal data at all, and it's all about the game. What are the things the players is doing inside any match, and what weapon he's choosing. And what armor he's choosing, what items he choose. If he, like in beta, you had the option of buying new armor, new as a secondary and primary weapons, and if he's buying it, whether he's able to use that weapon, in the same sense as he was using the old AR weapon that he had. So whether his accuracy decreased, his kills to death ratio decreased or increased after buying a new weapon. So all those factors come into play.
Wow. And when we, in order to analyze certain aspect of the game, like we create an experiment and we have some sort of hypothesis. So, and so hypothesis we're trying to prove. But were there any cases when the outcome of an experiment was very like outrageously different from the initial hypothesis that we had? Was there any moments like that when the data proven you wrong or have proven to be like, I don't know, impossible? I don't know. It's not very well structured question, but I hope you understand.
So I don't think we have, done any kind of test yet, like, improve this section or that section. But obviously, I mean, when you're looking at data, you expect something, and what you get out of it is completely different. And like a simple example that I can give you is that, I mean, when we were doing the surveys, I mean, we had different, demographics. So one demographics, we expected them to have a very high rating, and they did. Then we started to understand why the rating is high. I mean, and another demographic had a better rating than that, and we started to understanding why. And then actually the case was the number of people giving the feedback from that demographic was actually quite less. So again, the sample size was small, so the rating was high. So yeah, such things, I mean, on the overall level might be very different, but when you dig deep, you understand why it is happening.
I would say there was actually a few cases on weapons where we saw feedback from players coming like, hey, this weapon is complete garbage, cannot kill anyone, it doesn't work at all. And then we would actually check in numbers, and it was one of the best performers, but only in specific hands. Still, for me, the probably the weirdest one was that when we started the testing the game very early on. Like it was the first test ever actually. 1 year before the friends and family. We sent it to play research to one of the labs in North America, and we actually asked them for a playtest, or sorry, in Canada. And everyone in the survey was saying that like one specific class of the that because we prepared loadouts for people. That was actually in time when that you couldn't change them because we didn't have the technology yet. And like people came back with like this loadout suck us, like it doesn't work at all, hate it, horrible, horrible, horrible. And they're like, okay, well, there is something obviously broken. And we take a look on the stats, and it was actually the highest KD stat. It was the most used class. It was the most used class. The survivability was the highest. The win ratio was the highest, and still was actually the most picked throughout the game. And I was like, holy crap, how that is possible? And we were really digging deep, and like it took us more than a month before we found out that we used the word tank. And they're using the word tank for that meant to people that they expected that they are going to be tanking like crazy. But then they were like, well, the character sucked because I died fast. But we called him tank because he had very specific loadout with the LMG, and the class actually had lots of protective devices, but his time to kill wasn't as long as for the others, and 4 players was horrible. So like we noticed that even these type of small things might lead us to such a big differences in players behavior, players expectations as well.
Oh, wow. All right, let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Interestingly enough, it seems to be fairly quiet.
Hey. No weightlifting questions this time. Damn it.
Oh no.
In case of Irish, we could have asked there. So I know that he's hitting the gym. So.
Don't look like it.
But you do. Last time when we got it, it was an audience that couldn't answer that question.
Poor Ville. All right. I think we can let Ayush go at this point, and thank you for coming over. I know it was your first time on the big screen of our stream,
Yep.
and yeah, thank you for playing. And if people have any more questions, we can answer them on our Discord. If you're interested to hear more about data, let us know. And yeah, thank you, Ayush, and hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right, guys, and we have one more guest waiting for us, and it's Rob, and we're gonna talk about audio design of 9 to 5. So hang in there for another minute. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. I hope you didn't fall asleep in this short break. And we have the last guest of tonight, but not a least important guest for sure. It's Mr. Rob, the senior audio designer for 9 to 5, and a person responsible for a lot of noise in the game.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, indeed.
Allegedly.
All right, so Rob, can you introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. My name's Rob. I'm the senior sound designer here at Red Hill Games. I've been on the project for the better part of how long have I been on this project? 18 months or so now, I guess. So we've come through from the original Friends and Family through to Alpha to Beta, Beta 2, and now for the next Fest. We've had a lot of work that we've been doing sort of regularly. The department's expanded, and even those players that played Beta 2 can probably see the massive difference already that we've been making since then and now. So yeah, welcome to the stream.
All right. So obviously, audio is a crucial role in how people perceive the game. And okay, hang on, we have a technical difficulty. So Rob, can you restart your camera? It seems to be not
There we go.
working. All right. Sorry about that. So
It's
yeah.
my face. Nobody wants to see my face.
Oh, you're a handsome lad. Don't be shy.
There's the reason why I wear a hat.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the audio is an important part of how people perceive the game, and there was a lot of comments. Of course, there's always a lot of comments about the audio, and that in the beta weekend too, there was some questionable sounds in terms of climbing ladders, for example.
Yes. The sounds were either not there or they were a bit on the silly side. So that was one of those sort of work in progress sort of sounds where it's super low on the priority of lists to do because guns are more important than ladders. But then you get to a point where this is something that needs attention. So between Beta 2 and Next Fest, I re-recorded all of the ladder sounds. So they're brand new sort of ladder sounds. We also did a lot of changes to the main mix as well, which players might notice, specifically with distance attenuation as well. So we've adjusted the distance of the weapons, and more importantly, the footsteps, which has been a massive bone of contention for a lot of players for a long time. So later on, we'll go through and we'll explain a little bit more about that shortly.
Rob, can you maybe explain a little bit, because if you say recording, for me always the first thing for recording is you burning alive in your room and me explaining to people over Skype like, yeah, no one is dying in the office, but we have just recording session. Can you explain a little bit what is the recording session and like how does it actually work?
Sure. So basically, almost everything that you hear in the game, we have to source ourselves. Via in one way, shape, or form. When we were working on, there's key assets that we have to do based on a technical level and a research and development level. So when players might notice at the moment, if you get hit by fire, currently the system works that if you're taking damage, it plays the taking damage sound, which usually happens with guns. Moving forwards, obviously, that's kind of working as it's working as designed because you're taking damage from fire. The difference is it's not an impact sound, it's a burning sound. So to sort of develop the tech a little bit more behind that, because that needs a little bit more sort of code support than just like play this sound, we recorded people burning alive, specifically me burning alive, which was hilariously funny until we had to try and explain to the other members of the building that we was in at the time, nobody's dying, everything's fine. The screams that you can hear, although are real, no audio designers were hurt in the making of this. So when we that's a good example of sort of one of the things that we have to do. Other examples might be for the ladder sounds, for an example, is actually me just manhandling a stool, like a metal stool that we had from IKEA, and it's just me sort of grabbing it and pulling it, and that's the sounds that we make for climbing ladders. And the Foley sounds that you hear in the game, the cloth movements and the footsteps. I actually built a big Foley pit in the office here here at Red Hill, where we have like a big bag full of cat litter. That's actually the sound of gravel, and we had the hay that you get for rabbits and stuff. That's actually the grass sounds that you hear in game, and we have different sort of platforms and surfaces that we have that we had to record. And Karita, one of our artists here, she was lovely and loaned me her boots, which have lots of buckles on them and are perfect for the sound of mercenary boots. So most of the time I was just sort of using boots to sort of make sounds. So and we source that all in house, and then we can author it, we can add it into the game, and then we can adjust the levels, and everything just gets improved rather than using stock sort of library sounds. If we like actually know, I want the sound of, if somebody's above me, I want the sound of the person walking on a plank of wood, above me. So what we do is we put the microphone underneath. I had a large pallet that I managed to acquire from a Home Depot store kind of thing. So I put a microphone underneath that, and that's the sound that we actually have for when a player is walking above you in a building on a wooden floor. Actually, what we do is we crossfade the sound from the normal sound of the microphone near the platform to directly underneath. So when what you're actually hearing in game is the actual sound of what something sounds like when it's directly above. And we did that with all of the foot surfaces and the different physical materials that we use in the game. And it's easier for us to do that because it allows us we can control the circumstances and the conditions better, and that means that we can be very specific with what it is that we want people to hear. And yeah, it's people still complaining about verticality in the game, and we get it. It's a work in progress. There's a lot of stuff for us to do even now with the mixing and the distance and the volumes and the assets. So it's all a work in progress. But even between beta 2 and Next Fest, there's been marked improvements just in the overall feel of how the audio is all tied together. And we're taking on board the feedback that we're getting through Discord and through the feedback forms, which you all should be filling in, by the way.
Nice. Shall we actually jump to the game and see how
Yes.
it actually plays and sounds?
Yeah, let's go climb ladders and show how different it is.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Let's
people
sh-
actually commenting that the ladder sound has certainly improved and it sounds very good now. Good job there, Rob. Good job handling that stool.
Wait, what?
And also, I
Ouch.
must admit the commitment for the job when you are burning alive just to get the sound right. That's the level we expect from all Red Hill employees.
But explain that
Crashing and
people.
burning.
But explain that people on interview who are like, is someone dying in your room? Like, nah, it's just our audio designer. He's burning alive. It's the usual stuff.
I've actually been a part of many interview processes indirectly when Milosh he's came into my room and he said, "Okay, so we've got an interview in the room directly behind mine." I'm oh sorry, I'll turn it down. No. I want you to turn it up. We want to see how this guy we want to see how they deal with like really loud, annoying, irritating noises in the back while they're trying to concentrate.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Well, it's true that like if you are interviewing someone who should be actually behaving and operating very well under stress, it's actually the best idea is to like really make the environment hard to swallow, and like him blasting some horrible noise or horrible music in there. It's like, yeah, sorry, like these things are just happening, like just talk, sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat it? Like these are so annoying that like you will basically create artificial pressure on the person to see actually are they gonna withstand it, and is it actually something that will happen, because we are quite loud while we are doing our job. It's not.
You can tell the measure of a person by how they deal with loud, stressful situations, and nothing is quite as stressful as a playtest with some of our work colleagues.
Yeah, giving
Oh.
a shout out to Barjan and to Sauko. Hopefully Sauko is watching.
Yes, indeed. A traditional question I'll ask from some of the guests. Oh yeah, Salcoman is in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah, so Rob, which map do you prefer more, like aesthetically and as a player?
My preference, I like Flood. Flood is a good map because it's got a lot of verticality, and I like to camp. Sorry, snipe. Sorry. Yeah, camp. Who am I kidding? I camp a lot because I'm terrible at the game. But I like it's got verticality. So like, I'm not a front lines guy. In fact, I'm not a first person shooter kind of guy. Most people who have either streamed with me or sort of played with me or will attest, I'm just not good at the game, and it's mostly because I'm so busy making the game I don't have time to play the game. So yeah, I like to snipe because I can do Overwatch on it, and I can sort of I can assist in ways that means that I don't have to be
Get close to that terminal,
good.
mercs.
Yeah, that is a fair point, and it takes a lot to make the game, so I guess it's also somehow satisfying to be beaten at it.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
call it every single of my playtests.
yeah, it's like when the master is better than the teacher, I guess. I don't know. What am I talking about? Anyway, so Rob, is there any particular part of the map or of the gameplay that you would like to show in terms of the sound? Like it's a good showcasing moment.
Good question. Where are we? Where am I? Who am I? Existential
You're
question.
the camper on the top.
So yeah, I mean, well, the first thing is trying to find somewhere that makes sense. I'm totally in the wrong building at the moment for this kind of thing, I guess. But I don't really want to go out that way. So, yeah, let's find a ladder. Let's show off the ladder sounds. One of the big things that was a concern for a lot of people actually was actually I can show something off while I'm here. We've added in a drop sound like that. So when people drop from a specific height, they no longer are silent when they land, because a few people complained that someone dropped down behind them from a high place, shot them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know they were there." So we've added in like a drop sound now, which, you know, obviously certain heights you get to are going to be you're going to break your legs, and that's bad.
I found a ladder, so I'm climbing up and down just to show what it sounds like.
I might need help if you guys are around.
Where are you?
Rooftops.
Okay, well I'm
Uh,
a bit far away.
it might take a while.
Such a team play.
Can you drop?
Well, I can, but I think that will be the last thing I would do.
Really?
I will. Yeah. Okay.
I will
Mary, let's
catch
try.
you. Oh no! You just fell.
Wow. I got shot while flying down, so.
We're losing this. Our enemy is securing that terminal.
Rob, where are you?
I am in the burnt building. Where am I?
Yeah, for the guys are securing actually the spots you will need to push.
Don't even know where I am. Where am I? Yeah, I'm not going to see him from here, so.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is actually what I like about New York as well, is that like if you take a commitment as for example sniper, you know, this is for me the beauty of 9 to 5. Like you really need to think a little bit ahead of what you do. That's why I call it strategic. Like if you come into a strategy and then the situation completely changes, you might not be good to go, and it might actually cost you even the round.
Indeed, it can.
And I think it will in this case. Yeah.
Come on. We believe in you.
You will have to rush. Storm it.
I'm going as fast as I can. Oh, I can hear them.
You will need to ignore that one. Yeah, it's a pirate gun time.
Throw a grenade in there so they leave the area.
Not far. Good try though.
Yep, just unlucky.
I don't have a grenade. I just have a firebomb. But yeah, one of the things that you'll notice there is the footsteps where I was running under the bridge area.
need
a
to
lot of
follow the
people was
chopper.
complaining about not being able to hear footsteps from the beta 2 test. So we decided actually what would be a better plan, because the original distance for the footsteps was set to 45 meters, which is perceptually fine. When you're watching the game, that seems reasonable. But in the second to second, we were noticing that players were complaining that during gunfights and stuff, there's so much going on that people weren't actually paying attention to that. So the first that they heard of it seemed to be sort of, while they were just on top of them, it's like, oh no, it's like 10 meters away, and I that's only when I can hear them. Well, actually, no, it's 45 meters. But what you're telling us is it feels like they're a lot closer when you hear them. So we've ramped that up to a significantly higher number, just so that it's got a bit more, so that you can hear it from further away. And the difference is night and day. Players are much happier, or they seem to be much happier with the sort of the distance and how they perceive the distance as well.
But this is actually what I love about games. If you think about it, if I would tell you like, hey, I didn't hear you walking 45 meters away from me, even that I would be like, what, 45 meters? You cannot hear like nothing 45 meters away unless it's a gunshot, and then suddenly like 45 meters is not even enough. It's amazing how much you have to adjust compared to what otherwise would sound normal in new daily life.
Yeah. It's the perception versus reality kind of conundrum. It's very common with audio to like in previous tests we were like, oh, that the AK sounds nothing like an AK-47. Like, well, we're actually using the assets of an AK-47. So what you're telling me is the AK-47 doesn't sound like how you think an AK should sound, and that's Hollywood's fault, because Hollywood, everything's dialed up to 11.
There is a sniper somewhere on the rooftop, so be careful, guys. Yeah, I think I found one.
Yeah, I've just spied one. He's on the rooftop, just gone across one building to another building via the...
Wow.
Cargo on the ground.
There was another one. I downed one in the... there. Truck then.
Yeah, they got me.
Okay,
I was-
it's once again. Depends on the drop.
Yeah.
Time to carry the team again. This is where people see just how terrible I am at the game.
Okay, here's one sniper on this roof, then another one on the roof over there.
Yeah, I spy him. No, I don't want that, you silly thing. I just realised I can't zoom with a sniper rifle like I can on a drone.
Let me see. There are actually a lot of people in here, so.
Well, there's only 3 left, so...
So drone here. So careful on that. And then must be sniper somewhere there. There's actually another drone.
Yeah, there's the medkit there is.
Yeah, I see the medkit as well, but I don't see the guy though. I hear him though. Ah, over there one.
We need to stop them from securing that drop zone.
18 seconds.
There is a comment on YouTube. So you guys did a good job improving the game. I remember it in the second beta. Keep up the good work.
Ah,
So yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear this feedback, and let us know what you like and what you don't like in the game.
Now watching us playing, I think the next step would be to learn how to play the game.
I think by now I'd know, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I think we are proving that point to be very much wrong.
So it just proves that doesn't matter how many years you play the game, you can still be bad at it.
Their transmitter to get that data.
Like Milos.
I'm slightly biased in this sort of approach because I think it's good to be bad at your own games, because it kind of applies an unbiasedness there. So like, because some people play games all the time, And if you play games all the time, then you get stuck into a sort of rut where it's something that you constantly do and you don't really learn from it. Whereas if you don't play games and you come into it, like every time I do a play test, it feels like I'm playing the game for the first time and I can give more valuable feedback because I don't play it all the time. It's like the frogs that, yeah, it's like the sing the wood
Well,
for the trees kind of thing. So
and if you put frog into hot water, it will
yes,
jump. But if you don't, if you will cook it, it will actually cook itself. Yeah,
yep. I was going to use that as an example, but decided against it.
it's fine.
Terrible.
Okay. Yeah.
Nature.
No frogs were harmed in developing this game. Just saying.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
I think I had some frog like in between. So.
Oh no.
Martin might argue with that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say like I think we have a French people in the team, so.
Oh, that is such a stereotype.
If we take all the stereotypes, I think there has been at least one.
Alright, what's the plan, guys?
I will go on the rooftops and I will try to
Whoa,
keep.
sniper.
Yeah, that's exactly where. My plan is to check every single possible angle of the snipers and hopefully counter snipe. But I think it will end up being by me horribly dying from a sniper.
Well, I'm in the on the top level, the water plant, and someone's just tried to sort of snipe me. So
Yeah, I saw
don't
one
know
guy
where
there.
it was so
Where was that coming from?
One on the rooftops and one
rooftop.
across the under of the bank, and with that area.
Okay.
Not
it's just over. Yeah.
I'm waiting a lower level there. I mean, not there, but a bit forward and left. How to explain this? I have a drone. Let me show. Okay, one is here actually. Well, there goes my drone. And behind this building, you can see them.
Yeah.
Right, they're going to assume that I'm going to stay there, so I need to go find another place to snipe.
I can hear footsteps. I think someone is on me.
Is that the really cool, nice, new footsteps?
I believe so. Yeah. I didn't do it on purpose. That I would be trying to sell it, but yeah. I think it was exactly that. They're coming to me now.
And just mentioning that the game is available until June 22nd, and it's free on Steam. And so if you're interested to try 95, just go on our Steam page. If you're watching on Twitch, there should be a link in the description.
Right.
And yeah, you can download for free and play it until next Tuesday. That was a lot of panic shootings there, Milos.
I had a plan. Might not work, but I had a plan.
If only he was there, like, stay there for 3 more seconds, he would have killed him.
I know, that's the thing.
I'm going to go into the old dock and try and get a snipe point up there because I can see them, or they were on the rooftop opposite.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
There was his head.
Was it?
Like a bit more left where the vent was.
Yeah, you're just up here, aren't you, Milosh? I can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you walking here or not?
He's right here behind the door.
Okay.
I can't ping him. Yeah, my ping isn't working, but he's just about to cross the.
Somebody's climbing a ladder. Or
I will just show you the beautiful sound of the ladder then.
I thought I had a headshot then, but apparently not. There's a drone there as well. I'll just spied a drone. Yeah, there's a drone here. I can't ping. Why can't I ping? Oh yeah, he seems to be dead.
Yeah, the problem is that we need to go and push, and I'm basically empty with my pistol. Okay, there is a drone somewhere.
Yeah, it's mine. I'm here.
Okay.
oh, this room is. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna be dead soon. I have 4 last bullets. Well,
ah,
Overtime.
no! Damn it. I was close. I tried.
that was a good effort.
I know, but damn it.
Yeah, if you had old salty, you would only need like a couple of shots.
I think I should have actually had the ammo pack with me. That would have resolved the problem.
Uh, oh wow! All right. I don't see any more questions for Rope in the chat.
That makes a
So
change.
yeah. So maybe Rob, would you like to say something before we let you go?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
no?
Firstly, as a lot of people can sort of tell from the difference between Base 2 and Next Fest, we do take a lot of your feedback on, and we're constantly striving to make the game better. There are still obviously a lot of bugs and a lot of issues. We know about those. They're on the list. It's going to be fine. Um, Obviously, the biggest concern that a lot of people have is people like, oh, the game world's very quiet and it's not a lot happening. We know, like, that's going to be something that we're going to fix. The problem is what's more important for players is getting the guns to sound like real guns instead of pea shooters. So we spend a month working on guns, and what we don't do is we don't look at anything else because we're busy working on guns. So the guns start to sound and feel much better, but other areas don't get the same love. So we are on it. We're going to change. Don't worry. It's on the list. So eventually it's all going to, like, it'll all come out in the wash basically. So we appreciate everybody's feedback, and I'm obviously I always encourage people whenever I'm on Discord or whenever I do live streams, I always say like, please do give us feedback. Come and, like, you know, we're normal people. Like, we don't know these things. It's, it's a game for us, but it's also like, this is what we do for a living. And we are people too. So when you do give feedback, make sure that it's constructive rather than like anything else, because we have feelings, we have emotions. Nothing worse than reading a load of feedback and then seeing, like, some of it's good, some of it's positive, it's really, for the most part, it's very constructive. But then there'll be like one comment where you look at it and go like, I feel like garbage now. And then, like, it doesn't, like, for every 100 good comments, that one negative one makes you feel like absolute rubbish. So it's really easy to forget that we're people too, and, like, just bear that in mind. We're not Battlefield, we're not EA. We don't have 500 people and 5 years and billions of dollars. We're 60 guys in well, 70 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Finland, it's like we're
Hmm.
just normal people. So
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Rob. And there's a comment for you that thank you for the drone sounds that people can finally hear enemy drones very well and distinguishly.
all I did was turn them up. The sounds have been exactly the same, but like the drones are a weird one because in previous playtests, like way back in sort of the beginning of alpha, we had the drone sounds, and everyone's like, "God, that's really annoying," because you can have 9 drones on the map at any one given point. You get 9 of those buzzing around, it gets really old really, really quickly. So I'm like, right, let's bring it right the way down, and then everyone's complaining, "Oh, I can't hear the drones." I'm like, that's a good thing, trust me. So
Yeah, indeed. All right, so thank you, Rob, for coming, and
no problem.
we'll hope to see more of you on our streams. And we're gonna have a tiny break, so while we let Rob go, and then we're gonna have go to the closing part of our stream. We're gonna answer a couple of more questions and tell you about what's in store for 9 to 5 for the rest of the Steam Next Fest. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute.
Toodle pet.
Oh, whoa! All right, that has been a very long stream. We're sorry if we bored you, but I think it's been pretty exciting, to be fair. And now we are moving to the last part of this stream when we can just answer a couple of more questions with Milos here and yeah, tell you what's in store for 9 to 5 in the upcoming days, and then we will let you go about your day. All right. So first couple of things that we are, as you know, that we are participating in the Steam Next Fest. So 9 to 5 will be available for playing until Tuesday, June 22nd. And in order to play, you just have to come to our official Steam page and press download demo, and it should be pretty easy. If you have any older clients of 9 to 5, then those are not the ones you should be playing, but you have to download this specific demo. Yeah, and also, actually, during this event, we are having a sort of a tournament, actually, for 9 to 5. It's called Make a Killing Showdown. And more about it, you could read on our Steam page. And I will pull some info for you just very quickly. Um,
But I really like the name. The name was very cool. Very thought.
Thank you. I come up with that. I think, I'm not sure, but I will take the credit anyway.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so here is my screen. If you can see my screen. So 9 to 5 Make a Killing Showdown. It's gonna run on Saturday and Sunday, so on the weekend. And it's not a tournament in traditional sense. So you don't play against other teams, but you just, in the specific hours that mentioned on this picture, you go online at 9 to 5 and you queue up with your team, and then you just try to annihilate anybody you see in the game and win as many rounds as possible. And for winning rounds and for killing people, you will receive points. So it is 6 points for winning a round and 1 point per kill. And well, you can read about the points more in this article. And so every day on Saturday and on Sunday, and then the day we will announce a leaderboard. So team that has made or earned most points. And after 2 days, we have a global leaderboard where you can see who won overall. So yeah, if you want to participate, the registration is still open until I think 8 o'clock Central European time. So hurry up! You still have not much time left to sign up. And
You mean the 13 minutes right now, if I'm counting correctly?
I think it's 1 hour and 30 minutes.
1 hour. That's true. Yeah, wrong time zone.
Yeah. So yeah, hurry up. And there is a sign up form in this article. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Find a team. If you don't have a team, then go on our Discord, and there's a special channel called Find a Team Showdown or Looking for Party, or what was it called? I totally forgot. Anyways, it's on Discord. So yeah, participate, and it's the first any kind of competitive event for 9 to 5 ever. So we're excited to see how it will be received, and if you like it, then we will arrange more in the future for sure. And if you don't like it, then we will never return to the subject and never talk about it again. All right, Milos, maybe you can add more things. Like,
well, I would definitely say that if you have any feedback, guys, it doesn't matter what. Please shoot on Discord, social media, find us anywhere. Knock on the please don't knock on the door downstairs. That would be bad. But like, please send away and let us know. And if it's anything regarding second to second, if there is something that we are missing in the game, or if you think that the game should be something or shouldn't be something, all of these things, we are not saying that we will fix everything, but we will read it through. We will take a look on what is the general audience, and then we will actually react on it. Your opinion really matters, and we are, and especially those that are here with us for a longer time. You guys can see that we are developing it based on the feedback. So please come and share with us. We are all there. You can see me, Simeon, Kai, and many other, Rob, Otto, many of the faces here. They are actually on Discord and reading the comments as well. We are delivering it to the team as well. So please take your time, write it down. Make sure that you put everything in there and just shoot. We will read it out, and it will definitely help to make the game better together.
yeah, absolutely. So you can write to us on any social platform that we are at. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Contact you.
Yes, if you're a Russian user, you can write to us on vk.com as well. But if you want to actually talk with developers, as Miller said, join our Discord servers. We are pretty active there, and there is plenty of other players. And so if you're looking for a party, or if you want to need a team for participate in our showdown, then just head there. Yeah, and Milos, maybe you can say what is in store for the future. What are the next phases of testing? And
Well, for the next phase, definitely progression and bringing all back the customization, ability to have progression, change your guns, upgrade your guns as well. All of these things that are the must-haves for the shooters will be coming back and will be already in there. We hope to see as well customization, both guns and the characters as well, and much more content than we have right now. So that's gonna be the next test. And when? Well, my favorite one, soon, trademark. So that's gonna be the deadline, obviously. We will now go again for a little while, digging more work in. It takes some time to prepare everything, but I believe that it's not too far away for all of you guys to see each other again on the streets of 95.
yeah, people are commenting that hopefully there are not going to be 15 different currencies in the game that you use for for upgrading and
14.
Oh, excellent.
No, we definitely took that that feedback, and 15 currencies might hopefully will not actually be the case.
Yeah, but you will see for sure. So that'll be it, guys. Thank you everybody who tuned in for this stream. We will have a recording available on YouTube very soon, and to hear even the negative feedback, as long as you are being reasonably constructive, we will surely take it into account. Yeah, and thank you very much. Have a great weekend, or if you are in North America, have a great day, and we'll see you later.
I would say as well, thank you very much, Simeon, for making all of this possible and for bringing me here.
All right, and thank you, and to you and all our guests for joining us tonight, and people behind the camera. Max, thank you very much. The directing has
Thank
been
you, guys.
on point. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Go play 9 to 5. Tell us what you think, and have a great time.
Bye, guys.